Hey there, everyone. It's the author Andrew Snorton, and you're joining me for the Fast 15. As we normally do each and every Wednesday about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we take a moment to pause, check up, check in, enjoy an encouraging note from any of my books or audiobooks, and then close out with a couple of announcements to get you on your day. As you know, when life is lifing, sometimes you can't wait till the end of the day or the beginning of the next day to kind of pause and have that pick me up. So we hope that this moment during the midday allows you to do it, because it definitely allows me to do so. To stay connected with me, make sure to add me on Instagram at AuthorASnorton. When you click on the link in the bio, it takes you to my Linktree, which is linktr.ee/AuthorASnorton. And from there, you can pull the newsletter. So the current newsletter just was released yesterday. All the social media info on the books, the audio books, the coffee collaboration we have with Fonte's Coffee, archival editions of the Conversation Corner, which aired on the Status Network, Lens to Pens podcast, and more. So before we dive into our topic for the day, and before we get into our acknowledgments, I'm going to take a moment to enjoy a cup. And you too can enjoy a sip with Snorton. Make sure, I'd say, get the bourbon infused. That's what I'm sipping on right now. So shouts to our collaborative team at Fonte's Coffee with the bourbon infused, the medium, the light, and the decaf. So make sure to get your bag or cup of really good coffee today. So before we get into our topic for the day, I always take time to acknowledge people, those who are doing well and those who are not doing so well. And we know the holidays can be a mixed bag for people. For some people, it really is a stressful time. For some people, it can be a really tough time when you think about people who are no longer with you, family, friends, loved ones, or people that kind of fell out of your life, or life stresses and things along those lines. So if you or someone you know is going through a challenging time during the holidays, please know that people care. Please take time to kind of go through the range of emotions, but definitely take a moment to pause, take inventory, and identify what you need to put in place in order to get a step better. So if that means professional help, make sure to get the professional help you need if you have access to it. If it means just changing up your routine, please make sure to do that as well. Remember, we want you to be around, and we want you to eventually flourish and prosper. So that's for anybody going through a tough time. We know on the flip side, there's people who are doing extremely well. So if you or someone you know is going through a positive, you have that positive accomplishment on your job, or a situation got resolved, or you learn how to do something, anything that's positive, take a moment to kind of pause and reflect on that. Celebrate a little bit, because this is the season for celebration. Don't overdo it, but celebrate a little bit, so that way, you have to. We're going to show emotion. It's okay to show emotion. Just don't go over the top with it, and then feed off the positives that you've experienced in order to get to where you're trying to go. But don't forget about those who are not doing as well, because we know life can change real quick. So those are just notes for anybody who's on one side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum are kind of sitting square in the middle. So the first Wednesday of each month is when we pull a selection from the library. And with today being the Founders Day of the fraternity of which I'm a member of, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, we are going to pick a selection from none other than, I know, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Many people might not realize he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, attended Morehouse College here in Atlanta for his undergrad, Boston University for his graduate and professional training. Obviously, with the work that was done in his home bases in Atlanta, Montgomery, things along those lines, his contributions, as well as those with others, really did pave the way regarding the civil rights era and provide a template for the advocacy that we still need to do in our communities. So the book I'm going to pull from is Stride to Freedom, which focuses on a lot of the Montgomery Bus Boycott. If you're not familiar with it and it's not being taught in your schools, do some research. I would say PBS Eyes on the Prize is a good one to look at. But here's a selection that kind of spoke to me, and it's not only relevant at this time, which was like I want to say the mid 1950s, but there's still vestiges that are relevant today. So again, the selection from Stride to Freedom by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A solution of the present crisis will not take place unless men and women work for it. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Even a superficial look at history reveals that no social advance rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. Every step towards the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. Without persistent effort, time itself becomes an ally of the insurgent and primitive forces of irrational emotionalism and social destruction. This is no time for apathy or complacency. This is a time for vigorous and positive action. Now, Dr. King said a whole lot right there. And at that time, the context was looking at the civil rights movement, fighting segregation, the busing desegregation in Montgomery, which through successful efforts really kind of crippled the Montgomery economy. And again, things do not happen without consistent and concerted effort. But I want to read this part. This is no time for apathy or complacency. That is relevant anytime. When you look at the current landscape of different things, whether your community, local government, to the federal government, things along those lines, it's very easy to just sit back and say it doesn't concern me. I'm tired of dealing with this, tired of dealing that. Well, guess what? At some point in time, those issues are going to come falling at your doorstep. And you cannot sit idly by. Now, you might not be able to do everything, but all of us can do something. And especially when it comes down to, are the efforts that you're making designed so as many people as possible can reap as positive a benefit as possible? That's the question. If you see that's not happening, get off your behind and do something about it, and do something constructively, and think of things bigger than you and bigger than yourself. Because for a number of us, if people were apathetic or complacent during the 1950s, for darn sure we wouldn't be enjoying what we're enjoying in 2020. So we owe it to them and owe it to future generations to do something constructive while we are here. So I appreciate these words from my fraternity brother, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If you have not read Stride to Freedom, definitely make that on your to-do list. Okay, a couple of quick announcements before we get ready and head out. Next book signing will be December 14th, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. That will take place in Raleigh, North Carolina at Bo's Books and Brews. Jazzy B for real will be serving as the moderator co-host. She's done tremendous work in arts and entertainment and more, so you definitely want to check it out. This is a reschedule from the October 26th date, as I was under the weather. That is an understatement. So shouts to Bo's Books and Brews for that reschedule. Many thanks again to San Marco Books and More when I was in Jacksonville on November 23rd. Thank you to everybody that came out and supported. But like I said, the next book signing, December 14th. Couple other things. As you know, I'm in a little bit more sophisticated attire. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and today marks 118 years since its establishment on the campus of Cornell University, December 4th, 1906. Again, do some moderate research. People like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, to contemporary figures such as Omari Hardwick, Will Packer, Keenan Ivory Wayans, Stan Verrett from ESPN, and more. So there's a number of people across the board, from press and media, arts and entertainment, authors, educators across the board. And in the words of our undergrad brethren at Clark Atlanta, if we kept talking about the brothers and members of our fraternity, we'd be here all night, probably all month, probably longer. So shouts to all the members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Please celebrate Founders Day safely and accordingly. And shouts to all of our members of the Divine Nine who are doing tremendous things through the auspices of their organizations. Other than that, that's really about it, other than saying thank you for your support. Thank you for every like, share, repost, popping out, all that type of thing. I really appreciate it. And yes, while you can order my stuff online, please, as best as possible, go to these bookstores and other venues and support them directly. So that way you're supporting me, you're supporting the venue, and it's supporting opportunities for other authors and more to do stuff. So I'm going to challenge you guys to do that. And if you want to look at a listing of the independent bookstores and spaces that I'm in, please make sure to click on the link in my bio for the Instagram, which is my Linktree. Go ahead and check that out. And then the very first item is going to be the newsletter, and then you can scroll to the bottom of the newsletter for all your listings. So I've got to teach a class. I know we're in my educator hat in a little bit, but I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time to pause, reflect, reboot, and reimagine with me. I hope this provides a good break for you as it provides a good break for me. So on that note, as I sometimes change the order, but I mean the intent. Whether small or big, victory is a victory. Whether slow or swift, movement is movement. Keep it victorious, keep it moving. All of you guys take good care, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. And again, if you're in Raleigh, North Carolina or that area, check me out on December 14th. Take care, and I'll talk to you later.